Oh, hello, friends. How are you? I didn't see you over there. I was just having some yummy Shamrock Milk. It's so good. My friend Chocolate, right over here, told me all about it from the time he was in Ireland. And that's why we have our special leprechaun hats on right now. Now, friends, St. Patrick's Day was last week, so we're a little late, but it's okay. We're still going to learn all about it and learn how people in Ireland celebrate St. Patrick's Day with lots and lots of the color green. Yeah. So let's get right into our story right here. A fine St. Patrick's Day. Are you ready for it? Yeah? Awesome. Show me that you're ready with a thumb up. Love it. Here we go. As far back as anyone could remember, the towns of Tralee and Trala had always been rivals. Every year on St. Patrick's Day, they held a contest to see which town could decorate best for the holiday. And though the people of Tralee tried their hardest, they never won. The prize, a golden trophy in the shape of a shamrock, was always awarded to Trala. Each year, when the winner was announced by the official country judge, the people of Tralee sighed and said, "Next year we'll win, to be sure." The people of Trala laughed at them. "Oh, ho, 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 ho. No, you won't. You have always lost, and you always will," they said. Are the people of Trala nice? No, they're mean. Yeah. One year, the mayor of Tralee rang the bell in the town square, ding, 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 calling all the townspeople to gather. When everyone was there, he said, "Little Fiona Riley, though she's but a wee little lass of 6, has come up with a fine idea for this year's contest. We'll win, to be sure, but only if everyone agrees to it." Little Fiona's plan was to paint everything in town bright green. "'Tis the fine idea," said Emily O'Fallon, "but will all of our homes be painted green?" "Yes," said the mayor. "'Tis a fine idea, surely," said Reverend Flattery. "But will even the churches be green?" "Yes," said the mayor. "'Tis a most excellent idea," said Bardigan O'Neill, the school principal. "But will the school be green?" "Yes," said the town mayor. "Everything, right down to the wee doghouses, will be painted green." "Except for the mailboxes," said Mr. Root, the postmaster. "They are government property." "And the fire hydrants," added Captain Blazes, the fire chief. "They must stay yellow to be seen." A hush came over the crowd as the townspeople thought about the plan. When the mayor asked how many wanted to paint the town green, everyone shouted and cheered and whooped and hollered and said, "'Tis the fine idea. This year we'll win, to be sure." They agreed that little Fiona Riley's name should be engraved on the trophy. She had such a good idea that everybody loved it. The people of Tralee bought painter hats and coveralls. They bought brushes and rollers, and they rummaged through basements and sheds for ladders and buckets, and little Fiona Riley was allowed to choose the shade of green they would use: Emerald Isle, Limerick Lime, or Galloway Green. Fiona chose Limerick Lime. Mr. and Mrs. Kelly, who owned the hardware store, ordered hundreds and hundreds of gallons of Limerick Lime paint. Meanwhile, the people of Trala were planning too. They decided to cut shamrocks from green cardboard, sprinkle them with glitter, and hang them from every branch on every tree in town. Friends, the people of Tralee are going to paint their town Limerick green. What color would you paint your town? Ooh, that would be really pretty. I would paint my town blue because that's my favorite color. Awesome job. Let's see what happens. On the day before St. Patrick's Day, as everyone in Tralee and Trala were busy working on decorations, a little man on a horse came galloping across the meadow. Gallop, gallop, gallop. He wore red trousers, a brown leather apron, and boots decorated with gold bells, and his beard came down to his stomach. Pointed ears stuck out beneath the brim of his hat, and his horse had long satin ribbons braided into his mane. He's going really fast. The man turned toward Tra-La and stopped at Mrs. Dongle's house at the edge of town. He pounded on the front door. Mrs. Dongle, scissors in hand, answered. Frantically, the little man asked, "Begging your pardon, ma'am, but can you help me? I was leading my cows across the river, and to be sure and begorra, they are stuck in the mud." "You picked the wrong house to ask for help," said Mrs. Dongola sharply. "I'm cutting shamrocks," and she shut the door in his face. Was that nice of her? The stranger hurried to the next house. When Mr. O'Leary answered the door, the little man asked, "Begging your pardon, sir, can you help me? I was leading my cows across the river, and to be sure and begorra, they are stuck in the mud." "Away with you," said Mr. O'Leary. "I am busy cutting string for our shamrocks." "The river is cold. My cows won't last much longer, to be sure," said the stranger. But Mr. O'Leary had shut the door and had gone back to measuring the lengths of his string. At the third house, the little man asked again, "Begging your pardon, can you help me? I was leading my cows across the river, and sure and begorra, they are stuck in the mud." The McLeans, their hands covered with glitter and glue, looked annoyed. "Don't you know what day it is?" Mrs. McLean asked. "We're busy getting ready to beat Tralee in the contest." At every house, the stranger was turned away. How do you think he feels? Yeah, maybe mad, maybe a little sad, maybe frustrated and upset. Yeah. Finally, he crossed the field into Tralee. At the first house he came upon, he asked, "Begging your pardon, can you help me? I was leading my cows across the river, and sure and begorra, they are stuck in the mud." Mary Kate Driscoll was on her ladder, paintbrush in hand. Her coveralls were splattered with limerick lime paint, and her face was smudged with limerick lime blotches. She climbed down and looked at the little man, and she looked at her house. She scratched her head and said, "Follow me." Where's she gonna take him? She ran into the town square, rang the bell, ding, 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 and called all the people from town, and they came wearing their coveralls and painter's hats. The little man yelled to the crowd, "Begging your pardon, can you help me? I was leading my cows across the river, and sure and begorra, they are stuck in the mud." "But what about our painting?" someone shouted. "What about the contest?" called another voice. "This is the year we'll win, to be sure." "What about the trophy?" a third person called out. Little Fiona Riley was sitting atop her father's shoulders, listening. She looked down at the people, all splattered with limerick lime paint on their faces, and she thought about the golden trophy. She thought about having her name engraved on the golden trophy. But finally, she called out in a voice loud and clear, "But what about the cows? We need to help the cows." Is little Fiona Riley being a good friend to the cows? Yeah, she wants to help the cows. A hush came over the crowd as everyone considered what little Fiona had said. "'Tis a fine idea," said Emily O'Fallon. "'Tis surely a fine idea," said Reverend Flattery. "'Tis a most excellent idea," said Morgan O'Neill. When the mayor took a vote of how many people wanted to help the stranger, every hand went up in the air. The crowd shouted and cheered and whooped and hollered. All of the people of Tralee headed for the river. The children, the old folks, and families with babies, they went in wagons, on bicycles, and on foot. As they crossed the meadow, they heard the sound of cowbells. Ring, ring, ring. Friends, if you would help the little man, raise your hand. Would you help? I would help. Oh, that's so good. So many helpers. And when they reached the river, sure enough, sure and begorra, there were the little man's cows stuck in the mud. Everyone pushed and pulled and tugged, and one by one the cows were freed from the mud at the bottom of the river. The sun had long set by the time the people of Tralee got back to their homes and fell into bed, tired and a little wet. "Ah, well, next year we'll win, to be sure," said the mayor to his wife as he sank into a deep, snoring sleep. The following morning, the people of Tralee woke to the sound of the bell ringing in the town square. Ring, ring, ring. They ran outside in their pajamas and nightgowns, and, in the case of old Mr. Murphy, bright red long underwear. What they saw was so incredible they could barely believe their eyes. Every inch of Tralee was green, sparkling, shimmering, glimmering, glorious green, from the wee dog houses to the tall spire of the church, except for the mailboxes because they were government property, and fire hydrants because they had to be yellow for all to be seen. The people of Tralee shouted and cheered and whooped and hollered, "This year we'll win, to be sure." Look at all of that green. And they did. When the official county judge rode through the two towns, he declared Tralee to be the winner and handed the mayor the prize. The trophy case in the town hall was no longer empty. It now held one golden shamrock, which would soon be engraved with little Fiona Riley's name. As the St. Patrick's Day supper of lamb and boiled potatoes was set out in the town hall, the mayor asked some of the townspeople to find the little stranger and invite him to the party. They rode across the meadow, beyond the river, and as far as the peat bog, but they couldn't find the little man or his cows. All they found was a single cowbell. It was made of shimmering gold. Where do you think he went? I don't know. And though the people of Tralee passed the golden cowbell from hand to hand and talked throughout supper about the glimmering, glorious green miracle, no one could account for what had happened. All they could remember was the tinkling sound of the little man's boots and the beautiful ribbon in the horse's mane. Little Fiona Riley remembered that when the man thanked her at the river, he said, "You have already won, my dear." As the sun began to sink behind the hills, the town slowly faded back to its real colors. "'Twas a fine St. Patrick's Day," the mayor said. He took the golden shamrock from the trophy case and put it into little Fiona Riley's hands. Everyone shouted and cheered and whooped and hollered. The following year, when it came time to plan how to win the contest for next year, little Fiona, though she was but a wee lass of 7, had an idea. And when the idea was put to a vote, everyone shouted and cheered and whooped and hollered. They would not decorate their town, but they would share a meal of lamb and boiled potatoes, simply for the joy of it. 'Twas a fine idea, to be sure. The end. Have a wonderful rest of your day, friends. Bye-bye.